Hey everyone! Okay, so by now, pretty much everyone knows about the tragedy in Las Vegas this week, so I'm not going to spend too much time going over what happened, other than to say that personally I think there are a lot of missing pieces to this puzzle right now that will hopefully come out in time, but until then, I'm trying really hard to hold my tongue a bit and not delve into some of the conspiracies out there, even if I think they're valid, just because there's so much information we have to wait for that still has to come out. So, what I really wanted to talk about today isn't the exact events that took place, but instead people's reactions to them, specifically those being accused of politicizing a tragedy for their own gain. Now, of course, the first people the public are focusing on are the more famous individuals like Hillary Clinton, who came out and tweeted about silencers and the NRA, probably the first big figure to openly politicize the event within hours. Yet at the same time, she was tweeting that she was putting politics aside and standing against the NRA. You don't usually see those two things in the same sentence because they don't really work like that, Hillary. So I don't really understand what she was thinking when she sent that out. But it seems she is in the same spot or having the same issue as many other Democrats right now who are stuck in a space of cognitive dissonance. They're not sure whether they should sit on a moral high horse and shame everyone who politicizes this, like they do during Islamic terror, or if they should talk about how this can potentially be stopped and speak out against those who support the Second Amendment and go on their whole anti-gun tirade. No one, left or right to be honest, seems to know what the proper reaction to any of this is. And you know what? Fair enough. Emotions are high. There's a lot of confusion. But a common theme that I'm seeing all around whenever something like this happens is this idea that in the face of terror or major tragedies, we should not politicize them out of respect for the dead. Even Hillary, with her cognitive dissonance, is claiming that she's trying to put politics aside because many people are claiming that is what we need to do. And a lot of you probably clicked on this video expecting me to do a shaming video towards all of the people who just immediately started tweeting out about gun control. It was the first thing on their mind. But having thought about this for a few days, I've actually come to a different conclusion. I don't actually see why politicizing things is inherently wrong, no matter what politics you have. In fact, I'm starting to see this extreme neutrality of looking on everything from on high and saying the left and the right are both stupid for politicizing tragedy while offering no solutions yourself. I'm starting to see that as a form of virtue signaling as well. It's this radical centrist position of I'm too good to hold any serious moral convictions. And I gotta say, is it really respecting the dead if we don't look for solutions to what happened to them? Can we really expect anyone not to want to solve the problem? I don't think that's a reasonable expectation at all. The only thing that makes this specific case political, much like Islamic terror, is that there is a disagreement on the solution. And people have to understand that when things like Las Vegas happen, it is easy to get caught up in the horror and the shock of it all. And it's easy to get angry and frustrated, especially when you feel that what has happened is a direct reaction of something you've been calling out for a while. I've certainly been guilty of it in the past, calling for Europe to close its borders and talking about immigration policies following the mass loss of life in European cities. Because I genuinely care. I genuinely never want to see this happen again to people. So why is Las Vegas any different? The thing is, I really don't think it is. As much as I may personally dislike the individuals talking about gun control, they are doing the same thing here that people like me do after terror attacks in Europe. They're clearly frustrated with something they feel needs changing, and which, as far as they're concerned, this whole thing could have been prevented if those changes had been made sooner. And I can genuinely sympathize with those people. But I will say, just before we go any further, there of course are those whose responses are disgusting. Instantly saying people deserved this because country singers are right-wing, saying that the NRA caused this, saying Trump caused this. I'm not talking about those people when I defend the politicization of these tragedies. I am talking about the people who are genuinely just upset and saying, let's take a look at gun laws so we can potentially save lives. I see absolutely nothing reprehensible or immoral about that. I see nothing immoral about questioning the NRA. I see nothing immoral about wanting to find solutions. Now, I will say and clarify this because some of you may have questions. There is a reason I offer more solutions when it's a case of an illegal migrant or an Islamic attack, because where the difference comes in between my criticisms of immigration and others' criticisms of gun rights in the face of tragedy is what actually works. If more gun control actually would work in saving lives, I would be very intrigued by that argument. But the reality is, even in gun-free zones like in Paris, they still have these mass tragedies and shootings. The reality is that the silencer that Hillary was calling out and tweeting about silences a gun to about the sound of a jackhammer. And the reality is that even the laws being suggested after the Pulse nightclub shooting, admittedly by the Democrats, would not have stopped the shooting. So, are these really laws that would help save lives? Or is it opportunistic overreach by the government in the wake of a tragedy? Let's talk about that, seriously, because I don't think it's a bad thing to discuss solutions. But let's please frame the debate in a reasonable and genuine manner and keep it in the realm of facts and empirical evidence. I'm very happy to talk to those Democrats who genuinely want to save lives and can explain to me step by step how the policies they're suggesting would do so. I'm happy to talk to those anti-gun advocates who truly believe this is the solution, because we both want the same thing: less needless loss of life. We just disagree on how to get there. I am happy to defend those people when they want to talk politics after a tragedy. But I do want to reiterate that point I made earlier about the flip side of things, because while I don't find politicizing things inherently wrong, unfortunately, not everyone has such innocent motives.
The group that enables such massacres, the National Rifle Association, is not branded for what it is: a terrorist organization.
Not only is this insensitive, disingenuous, and an outright lie, but it's also really unhelpful to the debate about gun control. And this type of petty mudslinging in the wake of the deadliest mass shooting in American history is, as far as I'm concerned, totally out of order, and I am not defending those people at all. But the thing is, when honest people politicize events like this, it can seem really distasteful and too soon, because it's being thrown out there in the world among the stuff that Vox, Mike, and Slate put out. But for those that are being genuine, it often does come out of a frustration and a desire to see a better world. And whether they are right or wrong about the solution that will work, it creates a debate and a discussion that's something we can all learn from. Clearly, there is a conversation to be had about gun control when someone can injure over 500 people and kill dozens from an unseen hotel room across the street. Even if you are very pro-Second Amendment like I am, it's a conversation which needs to be had and one we shouldn't shy away from, especially if you think you have the correct arguments in that case. Too often with events like this, politicizing them means both the left and the right screaming mercilessly at each other to either score points or just to let off steam. But if we really politicize them, we might be able to actually reach a deeper understanding of not just one another's arguments, but the solution as well. Events like Las Vegas are inherently political, and whether we politicize them or not, they make a comment on and affect the running of our societies. Of course, there will be people calling for more gun control after the worst mass shooting in American history. Offer them arguments, not shame. Of course, there will be people calling for more border controls when illegal immigrants kill in similar numbers. And I wish the left would offer me arguments on that as well. Maybe there is a different solution than more border controls. I don't know. They won't talk to me. They just call me a bigot. Now, I'm not saying those two debates are equally the same. In fact, I think there are huge differences, but at least in both cases, it is politicizing something for the greater good of a country. When events like Las Vegas or the Paris attacks happen, we need to allow ourselves the room to politicize them, but we have to do it respectfully. We have to try and stop similar events from occurring again and again and again. Of course, we are going to disagree on how to achieve that, but unless people on both sides stop the mudslinging for sure, and actually try to have a conversation instead of pretending they're above it all and have no moral convictions, then we will never find a way to stop this. And ultimately, that is the goal of everyone here. left and right. At least I hope so, the majority of them. So a little bit of discussion on what will actually work is the best way to move forward in this, I think. But anyways, I'm just going to be waiting for more information on what actually occurred in Las Vegas. And until then, I'm not going to delve too much into the conspiracies. And I'm really trying to have conversations with my more liberal friends on what their positions are on gun control and giving them the explanations on why, unfortunately, I don't think they would work. And I would suggest you, left or right, in these cases to also offer explanations and not shaming or mudslinging. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate it. Be sure to comment your thoughts below and to hit the like button. I will see you next time.